I met a gypsy.
When I watch that video, though, even now, you can just see that that bike was so slow, right? And when I ride sand now, to me, I'll ride like perfect example. I just did a race in Manjimup on the 450, and it was like gnarly rough, gnarly sand, and I just suck. And the bike feels 3 million times too fast for me. But that's a guy that has never grown up riding sand and then goes and just tries to ride sand. Whereas with you, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, man, that's maybe the reason why these kids that grow up in the sand are so fast is because they start on a 50 like everybody else, but their bike is so fucking slow. It's just a turd until they get onto a 250F. And then even in the sand, a 250F still kind of a turd. So it sort of makes sense in a way that the reason you guys are so fast that grow up in the sand is because you always want to go faster and you're almost like held back by how much the soil weighs you down. And then you have to really learn how to carry momentum from such a young age. So I don't know. It was just kind of a thought I had today, and I guess you're the perfect guy to ask about that.
Yeah, true. Like, especially when you're from Holland, like when you have Europe to have sand, you basically only in Holland we basically have sand. So whenever you see Dutch or even maybe sometime a Belgium GP, there's sand. When you go to Spain, France, Germany, basically anywhere in the world,
Italy,
it's always freaking hot. Yeah, Italy, hot back tracks. Okay, in Italy you got very few, but basically for that, a lot of riders always come to Belgium. They like all the top guys basically live in Belgium just because we got sand, and it just makes you be so much more fit. Like for example, when you live in France, you just ride on concrete tracks. You just like you don't really even get tired. So coming back to your question, yeah, I think as a kid we always grew up like riding in the sand, and you always had to work so hard because like you needed a fast bike, but when I was in the 80s, my parents didn't have a lot of money, so I was riding on a stock bike. That freaking bike didn't go forwards. I could get my bikes for free from Suzuki, but like there was some rich kids standing next to me with a KTM or at that time like a Honda 150, and they were like freaking tuned, and they were like double as fast as my bike was, so I had to really work for that. But then once you go to the bigger bikes and you get on a factory bike, then it's getting easy, because then you're finally on the good material. And like when I was on a kid, I always had like not the great material, and especially on the sand tracks. On the hard tracks you could solve it with your talent and technique, but like on sand tracks you just needed that power, and I never had that power, so that's why I just freaking always was working hard and to get there.
So is that how it felt though? Like you spent most of your life wishing you could go faster than what you actually could?
Yeah, but sometimes like I even went faster than I could, and I just freaking yacht sailed the shit out of myself. Like even on the big bike, sometimes I was like in a zone and I went so fast that I felt like I'm going too fast, and then it just like and done, season done. But I had those moments. Yeah,
it makes sense then that's why you guys, because then you spend your whole life in the sand. And then you take it to even a loamy track or hard pack. I guess it's the advantage isn't there as much because you just don't have the same grip. But when you get a gripped up prep track, then you can just you've got this technique that almost like lets you carry more momentum, and then now you've got the ground helping you with even more momentum, and it seems like that might be the reason why there's so many great world champions that have come from the sand.
Yeah, true. And I think when you've been living in Holland and you've been growing up just riding in the sand, to adjust to hardback tracks is way easier than from a French kid who only been riding on concrete French tracks with sometime whenever it rained, perfect grip, perfect lines, to hop into Lommel when there's freaking bumps as big as yourself. And it's just that's why it takes for them just ages to learn it. Like when you see guys like Garoli, it took them like 3, 4, 5 years. They've been living in Lommel for like 5 years or something before they could really start winning in the sand, And I think when you've been born in Holland, it's an advantage because you've been learning to ride in rain, ride in mud, ride in sand, and that's whenever you live in Spain, for example, you barely have any rain. You just ride on concrete tracks, and that's it. So I think with Holland, with the temperatures and stuff and the rain we have, yeah, it just, it's a little bit like Florida, a little bit Florida dirt, like sandy, and a lot of rain. We have a lot of rain, so especially in winter.
It's so crazy when you hear stories like you remember Todd Waters that was racing for Ice One for Kimmy's team a while ago. So he's one of my best mates. We grew up together riding, and I mean he was like a really good sand rider in Australia. Whenever there was a sand round, he was one of the dudes that was going to do well. And then it's actually a pretty famous clip now on YouTube of him basically saying Herlings was 10 seconds a lap faster than me at Lommel. And he was a top GP dude, got podiums, and like I find it just so interesting when you can see just how big a difference it is at the top level. And the only thing that's different is what the dirt's made out of that you're riding. You don't see, you're like 10 seconds in one lap at a pro level is just ridiculous.
True, I've seen the clip. It was pretty funny when I saw it. But when I go to like a second motor Lommel, I just take it like a Supercross track because I just want to triple my way through triple, double, triple. And when you can see me, like if you would look back the second motors of a Lirop for me, when I would probably win like 1.5 minute or a Lommel or things like that, I would just all the way like triple, double, and then every time when I kind of jump, I can breathe, while other guys are like, they probably just freaking hit every bump, and it just takes so much energy out of you. So, yeah, for me it's like really fun because I got a private track just next to my house, which is like Lommel 2.0, like it's just super rough, and I'm just I'm just going there through like a freaking Supercross track. So, yeah, and especially late in the second motos when everybody's super tired, they'll go like, rah, rah, and then they just lose so much time. Well, if you just take them as jumps and just double your way through everywhere, you just keep so much momentum, and I think you'll go very faster. But yeah.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.